Hey everybody, it's Blast338 coming at you live with Dungeons & Dragons and Phasmophobia. We are being joined by my promised special guest, Mr. Faust. Mr. Faust, go ahead and introduce yourself. Say hello to everybody.
Hey Blast, how you doing? This is Mr. Faust. I'm just helping Blast out tonight to talk about a little bit of D&D. I've been playing for about 20 years now. I've been a forever DM for about a decade. And yeah, this should be fun.
I'm very much looking forward to tonight. We got a lot of fun stuff in store. We're going to be talking just basically some of the important stuff. You know, the importance of a session 0, character creation, and just talking about some of the fun times we've had playing the game ourselves.
That's right.
So one of the things I did promise in Phasmophobia is I was going to prestige at our next live stream. So I'm going to go ahead and do that a while here. So we're going to prestige. Warning, this will reset all of your money, equipment, and upgrades. You will need to progress through the leveling system again. Ooh. All right, prestige. Are you sure? Yes,
well
I am.
Done. Now get investigating, investigator.
Okay, we are back to level 1 and have absolutely nothing. So, Mr. Faust, what was one of the big things that kind of... How did you get started in D&D?
By accident, actually. My first ever experience with D&D was actually a terrible one. It was AD&D, it was 2nd edition. A few friends of mine decided they wanted me to play, so we spent, 2-3 hours making a character. Got excited for the big day, finally got to play, and my character stayed trapped in a dungeon the entire time, which was a huge turnoff for me from D&D. I guess I was about 18 years old at that time, and yeah, it kept me away for a good 3 years until I found 3rd edition and a much better group to play with.
Wow. That's...
Yeah, being stuck in a dungeon for 3 hours isn't something you want to go through.
So, like, absolutely no attempt on basically freeing you from said dungeon or anything. Like, you were just basically stuck.
Unfortunately, I was the entire time. I blame part of this, unfortunately, on the DM that we were playing with. He had a grasp of the game, but not a very good grasp with storytelling. So he wanted things to go exactly his way, despite the fact that there was a new player at the table.
Oh, wow. So even with a new player, knowing that you're new, he really didn't do anything to make the experience special for you. That's a shame. I mean,
it was a shame.
You've been an absolutely fantastic DM for us for, what, going on almost 8 years now, right?
Yeah, it's been about 8 years.
And, you know, we've had a fantastic time. We've had a lot of new people come to the table. A lot of people who didn't even know they would enjoy the game. And
we did have a lot of those too.
Your storytelling has been is been absolutely amazing, and you're absolutely right. That is a massive part of what makes the game interesting for people. I can't imagine playing the game with poor storytelling. Now, with the books and stuff that are available,
yes,
like you have whatchamacallit, what's the word I want to use here? The adventures, like we both looked at them. Curse of Strahd, like we're currently playing now.
Yes.
I know you stick to the material for the most part. How much do you...
For the most part.
Yeah. I understand that you do edit some things, and that's part of the game, is just tailoring it to the people you're playing with.
Right. And we'll say these modules are really great for one thing. And we'll call them modules. You have Rime of the Frost Maiden, you have Out of the Abyss, you have The Curse of Strahd. These are all great adventures for any new DM to get into, because it gives you a guaranteed outline of how the story's going to play out. Now, what sets apart forever DMs from new DMs is these books don't really list consequences for the player's actions. They'll tell you about the world, but not what happens necessarily in the world outside of special events. And that's where it takes a talented DM to really bring the whole world together, to allow for your players to go off map a little bit, and account for that. Like I said, the word consequence is a word I'm going to use just because it's an outcome derived from the player's actions. So knowing how to roll with that, I think, is what separates good DMs from bad DMs, is being able to adjust to what the characters are doing on the fly.
Okay. I mean, I know we've definitely thrown you some curveballs, and there's been plenty of times where you've told us afterwards, like, I never planned on you doing that. And
No, there's a lot of that with our group. And honestly, it's one of my favorite parts of playing with our group is everyone has their own goals, their own motivations, things they'd like to do. And if they're not in the book, we're going to do them anyway.
yeah, I know I definitely have a lot of fun. The kids are constantly looking forward to, because Arrow and Little Pooper both play. In fact, they've both advanced to some pretty advanced characters, really. And
They have.
it kind of shows how easy of a game it can be after you've learned the basics. You know, you have multiple classes, multiple races, and with those races and abilities and classes you have, or with those races and classes, you have different abilities. What are some suggestions that you have when it comes to somebody who's maybe just starting out, playing the game, not exactly sure even what the dice are? What's the best advice you have for somebody like that?
This is a really hot take, but what I generally recommend for beginner players is the stereotypical human fighter. And I recommend this because there are very few things that you need to keep track of playing a basic champion fighter. Everything that you need is right there at your fingertips. The attacks are already accounted for. You're just following essentially your proficiency bonus and number of attacks to go along. There's nothing intricate about it yet. And if you wanted to make it intricate, you could choose the subclass that allows for minimum spellcasting, just to give yourself a little bit of experience with using magic before you advance maybe into one of these classes that allow for more prevalent magic use.
Okay. And I think everybody's pretty much familiar with most of the classes. Your wizards, your fighters,
Your rogues.
Exactly, rogues, clerics, druids are one of my personal favorites. I know you always love it when I play a druid.
Oh, yeah. How can Blast break the game this week?
It's not always intentional. Although I do like to play a little bit of a challenge sometimes. This ghost is not being cooperative.
I actually forgot for a minute that you were still playing a game.
Yeah. The only evidence I have is EMF 5 right now. I don't even have Salt to check for a Wraith. I don't even know if the ghost is in the ghost room, to be honest with you. I think we're just about to get freezing. Yeah, I think we actually just got freezing. Yep, we did. Okay. Let me turn off that light there real quick. So, what's one of your favorite? I know you really love warlocks. That's one of the things that you like to do.
I
what are
do,
your-
and I feel like they're one of the classes you can best optimize in Dungeons and Dragons. And by that I mean they sub in for a lot of different builds all at once. You can be a melee combatant, you could be a straight spellcaster, you can do just about anything with them, and their versatility, and I love that about warlocks.
Well, we do have a viewer. Hello, Siberian Tiger. It's a pleasure to see you, man. Thanks for joining. If you have any questions about Dungeons and Dragons, just please leave them in chat, and we'd be more than happy to address them. I don't know if you've ever
Absolutely.
played, but I got Mr. Faust with me, and we've been playing together for a number of years. And with our combined experience, we've probably got close to 40 years in D&D.
Yeah, probably.
If not over. So let's see here. Spirit box would be twins. I don't think it's twins. I didn't check for ghost writing. Shade would make sense. Sorry, just Phasmo talk there.
Oh no, do what you have to.
Oh my
I'm
word.
still here.
Whoa, I just got jump scared big time. So we know it's not a shade because our sanity is a little bit too high. Are you here? Are you friendly? Where are you?
An elderly vic.
Oh, we have a spirit box. Oh, it's the twins. Wonderful. Well, we can get out of here then. Sorry, one of the things in the game I have to use the spirit box and I have to speak for that.
No worries.
But
No worries at all.
alrighty. I'm not going to be escaping the ghost or in a hunt. Let's see here. So we talked about some of the classes. Fighters are really good for beginners.
Welcome back. There's some
Absolutely.
Barbarians are usually very good for beginners as well. Now again, it depends on, and same thing with fighters. There's different subclasses. Oh, you got them off the camera. You know, so within each class you have subclasses, and oops.
And subclasses are basically just the specialization of that class. Kind of the bread and butter of what you'd like them to do or to be. So when you think of a class, the class is just the base. That's just what you are. The subclass is what really makes you who you are.
Like one of my favorite classes, as we've already talked about, is Druid. The subclass of that would be Circle of Moon. And they are able to transform into higher level animals, creatures. Like they can do a giant spider like right off the bat. Now, of course, we're talking about 5e. Not, what is that, D&D 1 or something that's coming out here shortly.
D&D 1 should be coming out the first quarter of next year. Actually, with all the revisions that they promise.
Wow. Okay.
They're pushing it hard for their 50th anniversary.
Oh, is that what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested to see all the changes. Like some of the stuff I've heard, I'm not 100% thrilled with, to be honest with you.
Some of it, though, I am. A neat element of the new system is going to be the way they handle weapons. For instance,
Okay.
weapons are going to gain additional properties. So some weapons will be able to push right out of the gate. Others will be able to pull if you hit with them. Some will be designed with trip attacks already built in.
Interesting.
So
like
they're
a whip or
adding
something.
exactly.
mean, that makes
So
sense.
they're adding additional properties to these weapons without you having to take a feat to acquire them.
All right.
Now, I don't know what that's going to say for the feats that are already available. Haven't read up on how the feats are going to be changed, if they're going to be changed at all.
Okay.
But I'm sure they'll be revamping those as well.
Well, I mean, for what they're doing with some of the classes, it just kind of makes sense. Like, they're giving warlocks more spell slots, right?
They are.
And that's always a good thing. It's one of the things I've always thought, where warlocks were a little bit underpowered because they only have the 2 spell slots. Now, obviously, at higher
Correct.
levels, you have the special slots and all that kind of stuff, so they're not completely out of the ball game. And you have, what's the blade singer? No.
The Hexblade?
Hexblade, thank you. I couldn't remember that. I couldn't think of the name. You know, they get a lot of abilities like right up front as well.
Correct.
But
I
no,
believe they get all their abilities starting at first level.
a very good majority of them, yes. Which is, which is really nice. I can't find this ghost. But yeah, I like warlocks. They make a great Gish character, where you can do magic, you can do melee. Like, I'm currently playing a wizard in our campaign right now, and as great as playing a wizard is, there are times where I stand there and go, I don't have anything for this. Like, we're going up against this creature, and I really don't have anything here that's going to do any damage to it.
Yeah, that definitely happens. And it also has to do with the specialization you're choosing as a wizard as well. Because your spells are usually going to kind of follow that specialization.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're playing, for instance, an Abjurer wizard, you don't have to count yourself out of doing damage altogether, but you should understand that it's not your focus.
Right, and I didn't make that character do a ton of damage. I made that character to buff the group. Her job,
Exactly.
Her job is specifically that, like, to buff the group and, if possible, basically shut the bad guy down.
Which you do quite well.
It's just
actually, when I
unfortunate that-
stop and think about it, all of you have managed to shut my enemies down with spells one way or another. I know Bestow Curse is a big one that you've all been using lately.
It's a very nice spell. Having to roll a wisdom save before you make an attack or anything like that is huge. Anytime you take something, especially if they fail it, anytime you take an enemy out of action or you cause them to skip around, that, in my opinion, and we've discussed this before, that is just as good, if not better, than doing actual damage. Now, obviously, you need your fighters, you need your barbarians, you need your upfront people that are going to, beat on the bad guy. You just can't shut them down forever and, expect to win. That's just not how the game is played. But one thing I do like about your campaigns, and it's something that I had to get used to from playing with some of the people that I've played with in the past, is you do a really great job of letting us negotiate.
How do you mean?
It's surprising the amount of times that we actually talk our way out of situations rather than choosing violence.
And again, that's something I would call a consequence or an outcome of thinking outside the box. as a for instance, the side quest that I had some of our group play last Friday, I anticipated for a lot more combat in that side quest. Almost everything that I designed was designed for combat because it was just a one-off side quest. But our party, being who they are, decided they were going to parlay their way out of every combat encounter. Every single one. Unknowing to them the results that were going to be happening.
Right.
Which we have to talk about, you and I.
Oh yeah, they got themselves in some trouble, that's for sure.
A whole lot of it. But again, that's part of what I love about D&D is you can improvise. Anything that can happen will happen, so you have to be prepared for really anything to go a certain way.
Right. Yeah, you can't... You can't anticipate everything. You know, it's... That is definitely something very true. But no, I love the game. It really does encourage out of the box thinking. There are definitely situations where people have done things that even I was like, what are you doing? That's not going to do anything. And it's like, oh, wait a second. No, that is totally working. Never mind.
Right. And again, it's that outside the box thinking. Odds are, as a new player, you wouldn't have that so much. You'll feel a little more railroaded. You'll think you can only do what your class specifies. But the longer you play, the more you'll realize that you have a lot more agency than you assume you do.
Right.
As a player.
It's really, the game is really open to whatever you really want to make it. There's no right or wrong way to play Dungeons and Dragons, as long as you're not inhibiting other people's fun. And granted, even I'm kind of guilty of that sometimes, where I've made a character that was a little bit too, what's abrasive, maybe.
Okay, I can see that.
I think we all remember Salt. The
we
gnome
do.
was just completely full of himself, and you know.
I think anyone that was a part of that campaign would remember Salt.
You know, it was just, oh, there's a door, throw the door open and see what's going on. No forethought, no planning ahead. And while I thought when I first made the character, okay, it's going to move things along a little bit, maybe, you know, we're going to have a little fun with it. Unfortunately, it came off in the completely wrong, it came off the completely wrong way. And we very quickly switched characters.
And really, that's just about reading the table or reading the room. Some things are going to stick, other things aren't, and that's fine. It's D&D. It's trial and error. Nobody does it perfectly. It's a collaborative storytelling game, and I'm going to emphasize the word collaboratively because you all play together.
Oh, yeah. It is most definitely a group effort. There is no I in D&D.
Absolutely not.
Now, there are sessions where things are focused a little bit more on maybe one player than another. That's creating story, creating background. You know, that's not...
It's not favoritism. No, not at all. You guys are great in that you give me beautiful, elaborate backstories to work with. So it would behoove me as a DM, honestly, just to make sure that those histories that you guys have with your characters get to be told. Meaning I'll take your backstory and I'll incorporate it into my world. And sometimes you're going to be the focus of that episode and other times you're not. But everything's still a group effort. Even if the story revolves mostly around one person for a session, what you're doing is you're creating memories for all of the characters to share uniquely together.
Yes.
So you're inserting all of the characters into that one person's history.
You know, why is this group together? What is this person's motivation? You know, that type of stuff. It's, you know, it makes the world feel more alive.
Exactly. And that's what you want. Every one of these D&D worlds is a living, breathing entity.
Very much so. And one thing that a lot of DMs forget is, and you do an amazing job of it, is what's going on in the background. Not that you need to account for every little event or anything that's happening in your world. And obviously, especially if you're a newer DM or somebody who's just learning, you know, maybe you don't need to concentrate on it nearly as much. But the players doing something and having an effect on their world in a bigger spectrum. Like, they go to a town and everybody already knows their name because they did something either heroic or horrendous at the last town. I think is a great part of it. And really, you can speak of this more than I will, you know, letting your players make those type of decisions. I think it makes more fun for the table.
I'd agree with that 100%. And I do like when the player characters at my table make decisions, go against the grain, do things that their characters would actually do in a healthy way. You don't want to be that asshole at the table that does something absolutely horrendous in character because you might do that out of character and say, well, it's what my character would do. Which brings up the point of a session 0. From there, session 0 set expectations in a campaign. They set boundaries. They tell how the flow of the campaign is going to go. But they make sure everyone at the table is comfortable with what's about to be happening. Really can't impress how important that is enough. Now, our group, we don't typically do a session 0 because we've known each other for so long.
Well,
but I'd recommend to any new player. Go ahead.
We've done. That's not necessarily true. We work our session 0s basically in during the week, mostly through.
That's a good
chat.
point.
You know, even playing in the game itself, like, it's very rare that we sit down and play straight through. There's always going to be side chat. There's always going to be chit chat, and that's good. It's just camaraderie between everybody, you know.
Right.
But yeah, we kind of get an idea of what, you know, is going on, what is happening, you know, what we're playing beforehand, well before we even start playing the new campaign. Like Spelljammer, we just finished. You know, we all knew we were playing Spelljammer, what, a month, maybe 2 months before we actually played it. So we had time to prep and, you know, talk about characters and what we want to play and
what we want them to be, how they would fit at the table. So yeah, I guess, you know what, we do a session 0. We just don't sit down to do it.
Yeah. But then again, we have the ability and the freedom to do that kind of stuff, you know?
We do. For anyone that's listening now, Blast and I play an in-person game. So that's all of us actually sitting around a table, as opposed to doing it all through an online medium. So it's actually a little more rare these days to do it the way that we do it. I know COVID really upped the stakes for people playing online, and that became much easier for a lot of people. But we still sit around a table and do it the old-fashioned way.
And honestly, I prefer doing it in person. Yeah, I've played online through like Roll20, and nothing against them. it's just so much better in person. It really is. It makes it so much easier to interact with people. I think things move a lot faster. It's just, I think, an overall better experience. Now, I like the tools that are like on Roll20.
Oh God, so do I.
You know, the maps and being able to import like photos for pictures and things like that, I think is a really nice feature. But I don't know. It's just something about being in person makes the whole thing, I think, just better.
I always felt that when you do it online, there's a little bit of that human disconnect.
True.
You get facial expressions, you still get tone. I mean, you get the same things as doing it online and in person, but being able to do it in person gives you much more creative freedom, I think, with your character. You have those interactions with another human being right there with you. I feel like it fosters more connection between players and between players and DMs.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with playing online, and I'm sure, you know, there's a lot of people who might even prefer that. Because then you don't have to go anywhere, you know, you're not... You know, you get done playing and you can immediately go to bed or whatever you want to do.
Right.
But for me, and I know for you as well, it's relaxation to me. You know, I don't want to say stressful as the game can be. There are definitely times where you challenge us, and I enjoy that. Where we have, you know, we have a very tough puzzle to figure out, or we've done something stupid and now we need to work our way out of it.
Which brings us to Friday, but anyway.
Yeah, it's very... The game can be tailored to pretty much any personality, which is really nice. And it takes a very important person to run the game. Like, I'd
agree with that.
I really don't believe anybody can just be a DM. Because I know you spend an incredible amount of time with building the world and that type of stuff. And I know personally, I wouldn't have the time to do it. Just because of everything with life. And that came out completely wrong.
No, it didn't. There are circumstances for everybody. For me, for instance, not to get too personal here, but I have a custody schedule with my children, which means my children are not here during the week, during the work week. So those 5 to 6 hours per week that a dungeon master kind of has to allot to gaming, I do have a little more latitude that way. Not everyone has that, so it can be really difficult for new DMs to find ways to eke out that time during their week.
I mean, I remember back in the day playing, what was that? Palladium. That was a really fun game. Yeah. Yeah, we're kind of going back on that now. And,
oh, yeah, we are.
I ran a campaign for that. And Palladium isn't anywhere near as detailed as Dungeons and Dragons is. I mean, I guess there kind of is, because some of the character creation was kind of along the same lines.
Yes.
Like, I could never really grasp the concept of magic in that game, so I always played like robots and things of that nature.
Right.
But when it
Which
was
you
my,
were free to do in Palladium.
yeah, no, I loved it. I used to make like, I made Voltron one time.
Yeah, I could see that.
And
I could definitely see that.
I mean, it was a lot of fun, and that was one thing the person running the game really just kind of, he thought it was fun, because we started out as just your normal everyday adventuring group. I think we had one magic user, we had, I forget all. We're talking 20 some years ago now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while.
But my character basically created Voltron. Like, we just had these giant robotic lions, and
That's outstanding.
the other, the other members of the group had to learn how to use these, robots, and yeah, it was really interesting.
Yeah, Palladium, GURPS was very similar to that.
Oh yeah, GURPS.
Rifts was another one.
Rifts and Palladium are pretty much the same thing.
The same thing, yep. And if I'm being honest, I only ever went through character creation in Rifts because I thought it was that damn fun.
Oh, the amount of characters.
Didn't care.
I used to
Oh,
make.
it was incredible.
I made, one of the things I did was I made these little round, basically fur balls. So like from a distance, hey, we got the ghost. All right. From a distance, they looked like a cat, and they would kind of like roll up to you from like underneath a porch or from in an alleyway or some to that nature, and then they had these tentacles that would wrap around you, and each of them was like a mini nuke.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they weren't anything to be trifled with. So
That's pretty cool.
yeah, they've definitely that was neat. One thing I didn't really account for was because of the damage they did, because of the damage that they did, they counted as a major challenge, and you got the higher, like almost like defeating a boss in of themselves. Now, like their armor class wasn't very high. They were very easy to disarm. They weren't really much of a challenge if you if you knew what to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's not like you needed a special skill to kind of disarm them or anything like that. But yeah, just somebody in the group was like, "Oh man, I just leveled up," and I'm like, "Wait a second, you guys weren't supposed to level up until like 2 more sessions. Like, what is going on here?"
Oh God.
And he's like, "Yeah, man, no, that's that's supposed to give us like
all of the experience."
Yeah, exactly. Like all this massive amount of experience. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, no, it's look, they can do this much damage, which means this challenge rating. And I was like, oh no. So I had to kind of stop using them. Otherwise they were going to level up way too fast, and become too
Yeah.
powerful too fast. Which is also a concern. You know, you don't want your characters leveling up incredibly quickly. I mean, you obviously give us levels.
I use a milestone system.
Yeah.
And I started doing that because I was kind of disappointed with the scaling for D&D combat and how it translated to leveling up.
Mm-hmm.
D&D is typically designed for 6 to 8 encounters in a 1-day period. So for every 8 hours of rest that you get as a character, the game anticipates 6 to 8 encounters after that rest before your next one.
Oh, wow.
Yes. I'm not particularly a fan of this method. I will throw combats at you guys occasionally that you just steamroll over. Because I think that you should be able to feel heroic. And sometimes lower level enemies are going to make you feel more heroic. But I also like the cinematic of large scale combats as well.
Right.
And I don't like how the numbers translate to the level ups. If you overcome a difficult obstacle, if you find a hidden artifact, if you meet a particular NPC, I can tailor the adventure and the levels that way much easier than I can with the numbers.
Right.
And then everything stays on track.
Sorry, just getting some photos here.
No, go for it.
Got an active ghost here. It likes touching things.
Wow.
Oh. Well, that was a big throw, but it wasn't. Oh, he threw the book. So that means no ghost writing. I don't see any ghost orbs either. So talking about character creation.
Yes, sir.
What is... What do you feel is one of the most important things when you're making a character?
The most important thing, in my opinion, when you're making a character is the vision that you have for that character. When I talk to people about making a new character, I never ask, what class do you want to play? What race do you want to be? I never ask those questions. I ask people what they see, what they can visualize, because sometimes visualizing a concept is more important than the race or the class itself. For instance, my stepdaughter, Felix, when we discuss making new characters, we don't talk about what class they want to play or what race they want to play or how they want to go about doing it. She'll say, well, I had a dream and I saw myself with a big sword. Okay, so your character has a big sword. What else did they do? And so on and so forth. And you kind of build the character off of the idea that you have in your head.
Right. And I know, me personally, I take inspiration from a lot of things, you know, and you can pick anything. You can pick movies, because there's so many different ways to make a character. That is absolutely 100% true. Coming up with the idea of a character is the hardest part.
Exactly.
You know, one of the characters I loved, still love, and I just think is one of my personal favorites, was my dragonborn barbarian, Shamash. You know.
Oh, what a great character.
Shamash Zalus. And And it's coming up with something silly too. Like his whole thing was, you ever heard of smashing things? Well, that was named after me. Yeah, he would tell everybody that.
Yep. But a great character, though, that, I mean, I'm sure you had the concept before you had the class in the race.
Well, honestly, what happened was I was walking through the game shop, 6 Feet Under. And,
Shameless plug right there.
not sponsored. If you ever do decide to, if you ever do see this and you decide to sponsor somebody, right here, loyal customer for a while now, and but yeah, it's.
You were saying you were walking through the game store,
and I just saw the miniature. Is honestly what happened. I saw the mini. I got the idea, just saw that and was like, that looks like fun. Like, I can make that into something.
And that's how you did it.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, where...
Inspiration's always going to come before the pencil does. And I think that's kind of how it should be. You shouldn't mechanically sit down and say, oh, I'm going to be this class and I'm going to be this race because I want to play this class. Play something that you love. Find inspiration outside, like you found inspiration in the gaming store. I find inspiration in movies and books for my NPCs. And I always have these moments of inspiration before I even set my pen to paper.
Yeah, because with all of the classes and the subclasses and everything with that, it's easy to get it's easy once you have the idea to make a character to kind of match.
Right.
And one of the good things about Dungeons and Dragons, especially if you have a really good DM, and it's even molding some of the things to match what you want to do. There's a lot of fire spells in the game, not so many ice spells. And I know you in the past, you've allowed us to swap out like damage types.
Right.
I don't want to be a pyrocaster. I want to do ice. I want to do cold damage. Well, instead of having a fireball, you have an ice ball. And,
exactly.
There's really no little harm. And I know, like, we have a lot of whatchamacallit, homebrew rules.
At our table, we do.
And I don't think anything really takes away from the game. You know what I mean?
No, because now if I were to pull something like, I don't know, decide on the fly that suddenly a nat 20 isn't an automatic success in combat, and decide that's a new homebrew rule, that wouldn't be fair to anyone.
No, I think you'd probably have people throwing fisticuffs.
Yes. Homebrew rules should be discussed with the table. Everyone should be comfortable with them. And I think for the most part at our table, everyone is.
Well, it's nothing
Like, major.
Yeah. We don't have anything that's absolutely major. One of the things we do that not a lot of other DMs do, and honestly, I honestly think it makes sense. Are you here? Are you friendly? Where are you? Are you here? Are you friendly? One of the things we do, and I personally just think it makes sense, is the whole adding your not the prestige. You're adding your, what am I talking about?
Proficiency bonus.
Thank you. Proficiency bonus to initiative.
Right.
I personally just think that makes sense, because you're not a normal fighter. You're not a normal NPC.
No, as soon as you reach first level, you are more heroic than any commoner in the world. And it should be quantified that you're a hero. You should get certain things that normal creatures don't get, in my opinion, because, again, once you reach level 1, as an adventurer, you are an explorer. You are a hero.
Right.
On a very small scale, but you're still a hero. You're something that 90% of the rest of the world is not. So having these little things like a bonus to your initiative just makes sense to me.
Exactly. And yeah, I know there's ways of getting... There's ways of getting, like, barbarians gain advantage on their initiative. But honestly, it's not even taking anything. It's not taking anything away from them. You know, there's still
advantage is still
theirs.
advantage.
And there is one class, I don't remember who it is, but I think later on they do get their bonus to their initiative. But then again, at that point, just give yourself expertise. You know, that's kind of
right.
That's kind of my thought process on it.
Oh, I agree. And you can actually get expertise on initiative.
Oh yeah, bards. That's one way of doing it.
Yep.
That's actually
rogues can do it.
Oh, rogues can do it too.
That's correct.
Well. Are you here? Are you friendly? How old are you? Where are you? Are you here? Are you friendly? Where are you? Are you here? I just have a ghost that doesn't want to do anything.
Yeah, I guess now that I'm thinking about it, we did already kind of have a session 0 for the campaign I'm going to be running with another good friend of ours.
I need to see. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that campaign. That, I think, is going to be a lot of fun.
We are too, and I kind of established the outline with you guys a little bit. It's based on archaic nursery rhymes.
Right.
Which should be a pretty good time.
Very much so.
Definitely a unique take on D&D.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Very much looking forward to it. Sorry, I'm being chased by a ghost right now. It's starting to hunt.
That's okay. Take care of your ghost.
I've locked myself in a closet. We're okay.
Wow. All right, then.
So I didn't see it change, but... I'm not thinking Obaki. Spirit box? No, can't do that. Freezing. You know what? I'm going to go Hantu, because it wasn't fast. It's been kicking the breaker off. Alrighty. What are some of your favorite characters that you've played in the past,
back.
or people have
I've got some
played
jobs ready for you.
even recently?
Even recently. Let's start with one of mine, because he's a character I designed just for Spelljammer that I would love to bring back as many times as possible, honest to God. Rizzuto, the salesman.
Oh, yes. 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 That is an NPC that I think is absolutely amazing. Go ahead and tell the people a little bit about him.
A little bit about Rizzuto. Rizzuto is not a shady businessman, but he's the businessman that has everything you could ever want. And I mean anything you could ever want. Unbeknownst to the party, he was actually the god of commerce in my campaign. So anytime they purchased anything anywhere, he knew exactly what was happening until he finally managed to get them to come to his shop. And once they did, he was their go-to guy for literally everything the remainder of that campaign. And I like that his shop can pop up in any multiverse. Anywhere. So he can exist in any one of my homebrews, in any one of my modules. He can exist anywhere I choose to put him. And I love that about him.
Yeah, I mean, he was just absolutely awesome. We were able to buy bombs from him, ships. We came to him for all of our supplies, and it allowed us as a group to really, because one of the things we did in that campaign was we did a lot of plans. We planned ahead for all of our interactions, and he allowed us a way to put those plans into action.
And that was me as the DM wanting you guys to be able to do these fun things. I had to figure out a way for you guys to be able to do it without seeming like I was just playing DM God.
Right. And honestly, I Spelljammer was probably one of the best campaigns I've played that we've ever played, honestly. It was starting from, what did we start, level 2, and we made our way to like 25.
25.
Yeah, that was absolutely crazy. We had massively powerful characters. And of course, we were fighting massively powerful bad guys. And not taking anything away from Curse of Strahd, but going from that back to
being powerless again.
Well, I don't want to say complete. I don't want to say powerless, but we worked really well together in Spelljammer.
You really did. Everyone did.
That was a group that really, each individual character was built around the other characters.
Yes.
And that's something we haven't really done up until that point. Now we're getting there with the current campaign that we're playing, Curse of Strahd.
Right. But it does. It takes time to learn the nuances of other people's characters.
It really does. Like I said earlier, with the character that I'm currently playing, there are times where I felt powerless. Like there's really nothing I can do other than, well, I'm going to try this spell and see if it'll even affect it. But again, my character wasn't designed to do the damage. My character was designed to buff our fighters. A Little Pooper's character, for instance, he's a fighter. I can cast haste on him. I have other spells to shut the bad guy down. Just recently we got, not teleport. The other one where they go to a realm. You know what I'm talking about.
I'm thinking.
You pick a target and they just kind of poof out of existence for about a minute.
Banishment?
Banishment, yes. That is a wonderful spell. You know, if you're fighting, you know, even two or three characters. And when you cast it at higher levels, you can target another character. That's fantastic. Again, you're taking that person, you're taking that NPC, that bad guy, out of combat for, theoretically speaking, 10 rounds.
Which is just as effective as destroying it.
Well, there's one of two things. You know, we can walk away, it comes back into existence, and it's like, wait a second, where is everybody? You know, where's my gold? Where is everybody?
Right.
Or in the same, you know, we take care of his buddy, and we know where he's going to respawn because he respawns back to where he vanished from. And
Exactly.
we surround the area, or we light a giant fire underneath there, or we use mold earth or something to dig a pit and fill it with, you know, water or acid or, you know, any number of things.
Right.
And then it comes back into existence and plunk. That is not that we've ever used that spell for that purpose.
Yeah.
True. We have used mold earth before to make a trench, and that was
Played whack-a-mole.
Yeah, that was a swamp. Yeah, they had no idea that the holes were there. They fell into them. They're using their movement to get out of the hole, and as they're getting up, we're, you know, little bunny foo-foo.
Exactly the analogy I was going to use.
You know, unfortunately, they were the rabbits and we were the field mice. A little bit reversed situation there.
A little bit.
You know, there's a lot of, you know, you can play it silly, you can play it serious. Like we started really silly when it came to Spelljammer.
Oh my god, yeah, we did.
Like, I don't think we really took anything serious. Even the first one or two combats, like, you know, we were just kind of playing around. And yeah, and you were going to say it wasn't until
the stakes started to affect you guys.
Right.
That you got serious. When it was all bounty hunting quests, and there were a lot of bounty hunting quests, things were pretty low-key, laid back, just really fun. I mean, it was hysterical, some of the antics that we got into. And the things that you guys decided to do, like Hudson throwing that one shipmate off the ship over and over and over again. Just to watch him crash back into the ship because of gravity. That was...
You know what? He thought it was hilarious. We thought it was funny. And, you know, people say the rule of cool, and I agree with it, you know.
I do too, 100%.
But see, that was one of the things that his character could also do, is he could,
right,
you know, grapple that other character and throw him. And, you know, it didn't quite have the effect that he thought it was going to have, but that in of itself I thought was funny.
Oh, it was awesome.
You know, I'm going to throw you off into space, and it's like, no, not quite.
Gravity well. But it was cool. And it was fun, so you let it happen.
And nobody was upset about it. It's not like, you know, he was like, well, that should have, you know, no, that's not how this works.
No. But no, you're right. Nobody was upset about it. There were no feelings any which way, honestly. It was just a good time.
Oh yeah, no, it was absolutely hysterical. You know, watching him throw this person over and over and over again, and then later on, yeah, he got a couple of good throws in that really allowed him to shine with his character. But it's those little hidden aspects of what we choose to do sometimes that really makes the game special, in my opinion. Because you never know exactly what's going to happen. Sure,
You don't.
We can do this or that. You know, but as you said, there's consequences for our actions. If we run around being a bunch of jerks and mistreating NPCs, well, then we're not going to be trusted by other towns. In fact, it's a very good possibility that we could be run off by either town guard or militia or, you know, whatever. And that's no fun.
No.
You know.
But I think with the right DM, it could be.
I mean, we've played our share of evil campaigns.
Yes, we have, some more than others.
We've played campaigns that started as good, and they've kind of ended up as evil.
I believe that was the campaign in which everyone decided to unalive themselves at the end.
Yes. Well, not everybody. That was... One character decided to do that. The other ones got caught up in an unfortunate accident with an orbit of annihilation, I think it was. Or
Sphere of Annihilation.
Sphere of Annihilation.
Yep. And 3 others perished to a trap.
Yes.
That the first fellow led them into.
Correct. And that's why he decided to play a new character the next session.
Yes. Not a bad call, but those were the evil characters. Who all met untimely and tragic ends.
Yes. But even they...
Consequences.
They were fun to play, you know.
And when
yeah,
everyone's on the same page, it works great.
Right. I think it's funny, when we started that campaign, I was playing... Actually, it wasn't until, like, what, 3, maybe 4 sessions in that I actually started playing a necromancer, because I originally started out as a sorcerer.
You did. Yep.
You know, I talked to you about switching characters, and, you know, was like, hey, I really want to, you know, play necromancer who wants to become a lich. And yeah, you were cool with it. You're like, yeah, let's do it. You know, you made a way for it to happen, and we went with it. You know, he gave up his dragon ancestry to become whatchamacallit.
I'm trying to think of the word.
Yeah, to become a necromancer.
Right.
A wizard necromancer. Because you even gave me the option of, like, hey, you know, we can play a cleric. You know, they're really good at necromancy. That type of thing.
Not as good as a wizard.
Not as good as a wizard, but even still, you know, they have... I don't know, I think a cleric necromancer, I think, could still be really good.
I think so too. They still get spells like Animate Dead. And I think there is a death domain.
Yes.
Which would give them access to more of the spells on the wizard spell list for animation.
And that's even something, you know, again, with a good DM and communication, you could easily tailor some of the new, some of the other abilities that like a wizard has. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't necessarily have to say, okay, well, your cleric can only pick from the spell list. You know, you can say, all right, well, you can get create undead. You know, that type of thing.
Right.
You know, there's no rule.
Well, and as a DM, I mean, if you guys really wanted a spell, for instance, I wouldn't rule it as an impossibility.
Right. I mean, as long as it's not completely game breaking and, you know, going to take over.
Right, like, obviously I'm not giving everyone Eldritch Blast.
Oh, why not?
Right? But that's something that can be solved with a feat.
Exactly. You know, there are ways to get it legitimately.
Mm-hmm. Or you could just ask me.
Yeah, and you're usually pretty cool about, you know, doing stuff like that.
I want everyone at the table to have fun. Like, that's what I strive for every week, is to make sure everyone at the table is having a good time. Sometimes that means more fun to you is having a spell that your class normally wouldn't permit, and you always have a good reason for it.
And you can always multi-class too if you're really hell-bent on getting that spell. But like you said, there are, well, also depending upon the level of spell too, to get like ritual spells and stuff like that.
Right.
Let's see, what time is it here? We've been streaming. It's 12 after 8. Okay. Wow. It's hard to believe we've been streaming for over an hour. It doesn't
I know,
like
that went quick.
Well, when you're talking about having fun and something you enjoy, the time does go very quick.
Yeah, it's very true.
What is your what is your number one most important thing when you're playing D&D? Obviously, other than, like, you know, don't ruin somebody else's good time. I think that's kind of obvious. What's a little hidden gem that maybe a lot of people really don't know when it comes to D&D? What's something that you highly recommend when playing?
When playing or when starting?
Either or. Take your pick.
I guess when playing, just let the other players help you. I know that sounds really simple and really silly, but again, it's a collaborative game and it's a storytelling game. So if you think you struggle with role-playing or you struggle with anything like that, just take a cue from the people at the table. Because everyone wants to help the next person. Your characters might be at each other's throats. You might not get along in character. That's fine. Outside of the game, at the table, everyone wants for everyone to enjoy themselves. So let other people help you. And
That
if you're just
Yeah, you're absolutely. I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt, but you're absolutely right. I look at the wizard that I played, the necromancer. We had a paladin, and you know who I'm talking about, and he was fully against undead.
oh yes,
And the entire campaign, we were basically at each other's throats in character.
right,
But like we knew it was just in character. You know,
right.
none of that translated out to outside of that.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, just you said that, and I immediately thought of that. But anyways, I'm sorry. Continue.
I guess if you're a new player, literally the only thing you need to do is jump in. That's it. It seems very intimidating at first. Like I'll grant that it seems very intimidating when you just look at it from an outside perspective.
There's some jobs ready
It's a
for
lot
you.
of math, unfortunately, um, and it can be frustrating to learn all the rules. But you don't need to learn everything right away. You just have to show up and be willing to try. And I mean, that's what I did. My first time is I was willing to try it out. And it just so happened that it was the right thing for me. Not saying it's the right thing for you, but until you try it, until you engage with it, you'll never know. And D&D honestly is something that has changed my life for the better. It's given me a great group of friends. It's given me a creative outlet. It's even given me a kind of therapy, because this is my self-care every week that I take for myself. And I can claim that as my self-care every week. So yeah, just jumping right in, being willing to try it. That's all you need to do.
Agreed. 100%. I mean, there's definitely, um, ways to get in touch with groups. Roll20 is kind of one. Um, a Google search. Check out your local game store. If you have anywhere
Yes.
that sells like comic books or dice or little miniatures, stuff like that. Basically, your geek or nerd stores. Generally, they're going to know of a group or have ideas on where to find a group of people to play with. And even though you might not get along with those people, that's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, I really still want to try the game. Don't let people that you're playing with ruin it for you. Because as you stated in the beginning of this whole stream and discussion, your first experience was terrible.
It was.
But now you look at where we're at now. You are homebrewing a whole new campaign from scratch with one of our other players. And you're coming up with this entire world and campaign. And personally, I can't wait to see what it's all about. Your storytelling and ideas combined with, we'll just call him B, is going to be, I think, absolutely amazing.
Couldn't agree more. We're both really psyched to have you guys start playing it.
And we are very much looking forward to it. Not that, I am enjoying Curse of Strahd. It is, especially the second time around. I'm really hoping that we do spend a little bit more time on some more of the side quests, like the Pied Piper thing you've been feeding us. I really kind of want to go take care of that. But,
they did take care of that on Friday.
Oh, they did already? Dang, I was looking forward to that.
It was kind of fascinating. He was gathering all these children up to sacrifice to what he believed was a god.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there were a few different elements at work there, but unfortunately they took care of that. It's just you're going to have to deal with the repercussions. quite a bit happened on Friday.
Okay. Yeah, we actually have 3 people watching right now, which is kind of cool.
That is pretty cool.
So, hello, Mundo. Glad you can catch the stream. Mr. Faust isn't going to be on for much longer, unfortunately. It's 20 after 8, by the way.
Okay. Yeah, I've got about 5 more minutes.
Okay. I'm going to continue with the stream after we're done talking, just playing some more Phasmo. I don't know if you caught the beginning of the stream, but I did Prestige. We've actually done a pretty good job. We played through most of the small maps. I still have Grafton Farmhouse to do, and then we have all the small maps done, and I'm up to level 9. But not to take up any more, because your time's valuable. But yeah, if you're looking for a group, there's plenty of resources. Join us Tuesday nights. I hope to continue this every Tuesday, if you're down for it.
Oh, absolutely. This has been great.
Again, we're kind of hoping to get questions from chat. Be sure to put questions, comments, topics of discussion down in the comments of my videos, and we'll address them Tuesday nights.
Yeah, we'd love to.
So I had a lot of fun. This hour and 20 minutes has really gone by very quickly.
Yeah, it has. Time flies, though, when you're having a good time.
Very much so. Very much so. Hopefully, our rambling has made some sort of coherent sense.
Well, and this is our first time, too. I'm sure it'll get a little more cohesive the longer we do it.
Yeah. We didn't really... we had an idea what we wanted to talk about, but... anyways. So, alright, well, hey, it was great having you on, Mr. Faust. Really appreciate your time. I am so looking forward to seeing you Friday.
Yeah, that'll be pretty great.
Going 2 full weeks without D&D is
it's rough. It is rough.
And then I didn't get home from work until like 10:30 on Friday night.
Oh, that's right, you were on call.
Yeah, I got a call all the way out in Chad's Ford.
Gotta love those Exton guys.
Oh, don't even get me started on those guys, I tell you. Not that anyone would ever see this, but...
Yeah, well, you never know.
Hey, we hit a few million people, and we never really looked into D&D. Is it hard to get into as a beginner? The hardest part is finding somebody to play with. After that, there's a lot of nuances to the game, but it can be fairly easy to pick up. There are characters you can play that are fairly beginner level. Like Jason said, or I'm sorry, Mr. Faust said in the beginning of the stream, a human fighter, bare bones basic, is something that pretty much anybody can pick up, and with a little bit of guidance can play.
And what's really cool is the D&D Essentials box comes with pre-generated characters. So if you did want to get started, just you and say a few friends, you can buy the D&D Essentials box. No, we're not affiliated with Wizards of the Coast, but this is a great resource. That comes with pre-generated characters that'll kind of walk you through how to play the game.
And the player's handbook, which is kind of your main guide as a player, really walks you through in the beginning of the book on how to make a character. And your first what would you say? Your first like dozen characters are not going to be optimized.
Oh, not at all.
They're going to be broken. They're going to be missing things. However, in my opinion, sometimes like I leave out small things like the background, because having those little broken pieces gives your character room to grow. Like, you don't really know where you came from. You just, you know, the old cliche, I just woke up in the woods somewhere and I'm holding a sword and a shield. And somehow I know how to fight.
That's as good an entry point as any.
Yeah. And you can play Dungeons & Dragons with, you know, a group of 2 people. One person running it, one person playing. You know, we had a group of, what was it, 10, 12 people at one point?
We had 10. That was rough on me. Yeah, our playing table now is 6. We have 6 players.
And even that can be a lot sometimes, I'm sure.
It can be a little bit daunting, but we've played so long together that it's established that no one really talks over each other. It's another benefit of doing it in person. You don't have that element where you're talking over each other all the time. Everyone's really respectful of everyone else's opinions. Really, if you're going to jump into D&D for the first time, find the group that works for you, because not every group is going to. And don't let one bad DM ruin your entire experience. You have agency, just find a new group.
Very well said. You know, the game is meant to have fun. That's what it
Exactly.
is. You know, it's not. I mean, we've had rules lawyers at the table.
I'd like to argue with the DM. Yes, we did.
And there's one thing, you know, to say, hey, look. I guess there's a difference between twisting words and flat out breaking them. And yeah, I'm one of those people that like to twist.
A little bit. Oh, hey, Blast.
Yes.
I think my time has come to an end.
All right. Well, again, thank you so much. I really had a lot of fun. I look very much forward to seeing you this Friday and chatting with you next Tuesday. We're going to be doing this every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we may not be playing Phasmo. We could be playing a different game or even doing something else. I'm trying to figure it out. This was just kind of test the waters, see what's going on. But go ahead and say your goodbyes, and we will talk with you next week.
All right, to everyone listening, thanks for coming to support Blast. He's a great guy. He's doing a really good thing with his gaming right now. And yeah, you'll talk to me again next Tuesday. Hope everyone had a happy holiday.
All right. Well, hey, thanks a lot, Mr. Faust. We will see you.
All right, sounds good. Talk to you soon.
So that was Mr. Faust. We've been friends for ages now. We've been playing Dungeons & Dragons together for 8, maybe 9 years now. It's things kind of lose track. We've both been playing since 3E, 3rd edition. So right now we're currently playing 5th edition. But yeah, no, it's a great game. We absolutely love it. And we highly recommend, if you're able to find a group and play, you know, especially somebody who's willing to bring on somebody who's new, and just have fun. You know, there's no reason to take it 100% serious, because it's really not meant to be. At least not that I've taken it. So, alright, well, let's play some Phasmo, shall we? Let's see here. We got no tarot cards. But yeah, I very much look forward to Tuesday nights now. We're going to be live streaming. Like I said, I can't guarantee it's going to be Phasmo each time. Probably going to be looking into maybe another game to play or another activity. But just basically turn it into like a D&D discussion or even other topics. You know, if there's anything, you know, you guys want to talk about or have any questions, please leave it in the comments. You can comment on videos. I'll see it and we can discuss it. Is this? I think this is the room. Yeah, because if I walk out here, we're gonna get... Yeah. We already found the room. Check that out. Okay. So let's head out to the truck. Come on. Alrighty, I'm going to take just a very short break. I'll be back in just a minute. Alrighty, thank you for your patience. Been recording for an hour and a half, and whew, you know, when nature calls. So how you doing, Mundo? It's good to see you, man. I'm sorry you miss us on Thursdays. But yeah, the idea has kind of always been to do 2 nights a week. Just unfortunately with my schedule, it was kind of difficult to do. Especially Tuesdays were kind of a difficult time. Oh, I don't have a camera. Dang it. Alright, so we're not freezing yet. Alright, that's enough out of you. Well, we know it's not a mare. He turned the light off and then he turned it right back on for us. Oh, wow, London. Very nice. That is, that is awesome. Well, I'm glad you like the videos. Now that we've prestiged, I'm hoping to really kind of start doing some crazy stuff. I do want to level up a little before we get too nuts. Oh, that's right. There's only 2 things to that now. Okay, so I think we can roll out ultraviolet. Seems awfully cold in here. Freezing. Like, all of our hunts so far have been Banshee, Hantu, or Obaki. It's kind of nice to have a different ghost now. I think we can roll out ghost orbs. It's not a shade because it showed itself. It's probably an Oni. So that's going to be what? Spirit box? Oh, come on! Not fair. I couldn't roll to the camera fast enough. So EMF 5 and dots. It is... Hey, what's going on? That was dots. I think we have an Oni. Yeah. Duck Magoo, hey, how's it going? Yeah, the level 1 tier, the tier 1 stuff, especially after coming off of tier 3, is a challenge. Very true. But you know, some of the things we've been using tier 1 from the beginning. Oh. Why didn't that count? Was that not a... What happened there? That's okay. Not a big deal. Can we get another dots? Can we get dots so we can get dots photo? Or another ghost event? Was it this door? Okay, so yeah, we're not getting 2-star interaction. What? Well, we know we're dealing with an Oni. Yeah, the tier 1 stuff is definitely a challenge after coming off of tier 3. Like, I'm gonna miss the tier 3 smudge. And that crucifix. You're practically indestructible with them. You know, I don't mind the tier 1 dots. Just to be completely honest, it's more it's more about placement. Like if you, well, room size matters too. If you get a smaller room, like if you're over in, that would kill the breaker. I forgot I have my brightness turned the whole way up. You know, if you're using it in a smaller room, it's not so bad. In fact, in some ways, I think it's better than tier 3 because it doesn't sweep. Like, that whole sweeping thing is kind of an annoyance to me. If that makes sense. Let's grab our camera so we don't miss out on an opportunity. We got heavy fog. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not like the greatest thing since sliced bread. It's definitely a pain in the butt. Can you give me whispers? I know you're an Oni. I know you're trying to drain my sanity so you can hunt me. But you could still be a nice guy and give parabolic. And let's see if we can find the bone. That's one thing we haven't done yet. Which door was that? Is that the main door? Are you playing with a different door? What are you doing? Alright, let's go find the bone. That didn't count, did it? No. Now he's just being a jerk. What is with Onis? They're just jerks, aren't they? Alright, so that can... bone you could hide up here. I mean, I like the tier 2. I think it covers a great area. The fact that you can stick it on the wall and, you know, cover an area is really handy. The thing I don't like about tier 3 is how loud it is. They did quiet it down, and I very much appreciate that. However, it doesn't need to be even as loud as it is now. Our sanity's probably shot with all those ghost events. Alright, where's the bone? I don't want to spend too much time in here. Especially now that we know what ghost it is. And now you're in here. Why are you playing with the sink? Is this now your ghost room? Is that what's going on? Are you not in here anymore? That's a ghost event, right? Yeah. Did we see the bone over here and just miss and skip it because we didn't have a camera? That's what happened at the last map. saw the bone, I just didn't pick it up because I couldn't take a photo of it. I know the first time through, like, I did nothing but complain about the Tier 1 equipment, but I was really learning the game at that point. And, you know, to be fair, this update has been punishing. Really punishing, especially for new players. But after you play for a little bit and you start to learn the different ghosts' behaviors. What was a Yuri?
I've got some jobs ready for you.
I thought for sure that was going to be an Oni. Alright, what did we miss? Ghost orbs. There we go. Tier 1 equipment doing its thing again. However, I think the ghost was actually in that back bathroom, not the bedroom. Alrighty, what do we got? Well, let's do Camp Woodwind, and I think this is going to be our last hunt for tonight.
Alright, we're here. Take a look at the equipment and prepare accordingly before starting the investigation.
Well, we want flashlight for sure, EMF, and video cam. That sounds like a great starting. So no tarot cards. I missed the headgear. Oh, we got the bone. I'm going to get that a while. I'm not going to worry about a photo. I miss having the Tier 2 headset. I think that right now is the biggest piece of equipment that I miss. Like, don't get me wrong, the Tier 3 headset is great when you're doing the bigger maps like the Asylum. Ooh, that would be a fun challenge. Let's do... Let's do the Asylum with Tier 1 equipment. We'll wait till we unlock everything. I think we're here. I think we're in the bathroom. Oh, yep, we are in the bathroom. You're calling it now, it's an Oni. Lock it in, send it off. I would love to. But let's collect a little bit of evidence. That's EMA 5. EMA 5. I mean, it could be, couldn't it? Yeah. It's still on the table. I don't know. Maybe do the ghost roulette like Oh, it threw the... What a jerk. Did you see that? What a jerk. Crucifix. Parabolic. What is it trying to do to us? I think we need a thermometer in there. Oh, you know what? It still covers a decent area. It's a lot more than I thought it was. We're going down pretty quick. Ooh, are we going to be freezing? Pretty close. What did you do with our video camera, you jerk? That's it, you're getting the lights. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I think we can roll out ghost orbs. Dots. See if it's a Goryo. Right, stay there. I'm going to get a camera. Stay there. Don't move. I'll be right back. I'm just going to take a jog for 3 hours. It's I eat lots of unhealthy food and can't sprint for more than 5 seconds. I think we can roll out ghost orbs. I love how the wind plays with that. Do we have mirror? No. Do we have monkey paw? Nope. Please don't tell me it's summoning circle again. It's like summoning circle is absolutely useless for us right now, since we don't have a lighter. No. Voodoo doll? Ouija board. Okay, cool. I'll still take a picture of it. Oh, I just heard... Nobody stepped in the salt. I definitely heard a door. Thought I heard a door. I don't know, this thing hasn't stepped in the salt. I'm thinking Mare. Or Wraith, I'm sorry. Huh. You would think by now it would have stepped in the salt. So what is Wraith? Wraith is... Spirit box? We could try that. And dots, that's right. You know what would really cement it? Yep, you've been calling it from the beginning. Yeah, no ultraviolet. Now, as soon as I do this, it's going to step in the salt. Are you here? Where are you? How old are you? Where are you? How old are you? Where are you? Are you here? Are you friendly?
An elderly bit.
It's a wraith. It's a wraith. No question about it. We can possibly do those. We don't have smudge, but if we hunt and lock it around the fire. You're welcome, honestly. Oh. You actually got it. I'm surprised. Okay. Now can we get a dots photo? That would be amazing. Or just go ahead and play with stuff. That's fine. You can play with those doors all you want. I'll take those photos. Come on. Let's get this guy a little bit more active, shall we? How old are you? 61. How long have you been dead? How long have you been dead? Goodbye. Oh! Well, that kind of confirms a wraith. Yep.
Welcome back. I've got some jobs ready for you.
Hey, it's the first time I've died all night, so I'm actually I'm not too bummed out about that. That was a lot of fun. All right, well, hey, thanks for joining me. You know, please join our Tuesday night discussion nights with our live stream. Me and Mr. Faust are going to be going over Dungeons & Dragons, things of that nature. So anybody who's interested, please join us. If you think of any other topics you'd like us to discuss, let us know down in the comments. And you can even comment throughout the week under my videos. And I'll make a note of all those and we'll address them as they come in. No, my faith in the Wraith wasn't really wavering. Once I kind of realized that, you know, this salt's been down from us the entire hunt, and it still hasn't stepped in it, even though we did see it outside of the bathroom, it kind of cemented. I was just kind of hoping to get my sanity down a little bit. Yeah, we're doing every Tuesday night. I do just Phasmophobia live streams Thursdays, same time, 7 p.m. And we just kind of go until, usually about 9 o'clock. Really depends upon you guys. If you're really active in chat like you've been, I greatly appreciate it. Then I just kind of keep going, but kind of 9 o'clock is my cutoff there. I've got to get stuff done around the house, so I can continue to do this without speaking in a higher voice. But anyways, hey, thanks a lot for joining me. If you like the video, if you like the stream, go ahead and give it a like. If you're not subscribed, please do so. And as you know, we are trying to grow this channel, and I need your guys' help to do it. So don't forget to tell your neighbors, tell your friends, and shout it from the rooftops. Like, comment, and subscribe to Blast338. Have a great time, and we'll see you at the next video. Peace.